The college experience, Michigan State Spartans college football preview for 2020 on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by mybookie.ag. You're listening to our 2020 college football preview series where we break down every single Division I college football team. When betting on college football, make sure you go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code SGP for a deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGP. You play, you win, you get paid over at mybookie.ag. Yes. Woo-wee. Welcome to the college experience. My name is Colby Swinging Dantabase Dant, aka Pick Dundee, and I'm here to get to know the Michigan State Spartans. But with me is my co-host, former James Madison defensive back, current douchebag. Give it up for former burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi.
Let's talk Michigan State Spartan football. Patty C, do you have the win totals from last year?
I do have the win totals from last year. We are looking at, it was set at 8 last year, and we all took the under and we all hit on that. So
boom, cash in the
obviously
bank.
Very close. 7 and 6. Well, I guess 6 and 6 in the regular season.
Yeah,
so not that close.
We were fine.
Yeah,
they weren't very good.
Little breathing room. Yeah.
All right, now you look back at last year's team. Obviously, we got a coaching change, which
we're very close to a very fast start. If they could have held on against Arizona State, would have been out to 5-0.
True, but they also got absolutely housed by
any good team they played.
Yeah. I mean, and even Illinois came back from, I think, down like 18 or something to beat them.
Yeah. I mean, look at the wins last year.
Squeaking by Maryland.
Yeah. Tulsa, Western. Tell me if you hear a good team in this mix. Indiana was a decent team.
Yeah, that's their best win.
Yeah. Tulsa, Western Michigan, Northwestern, Indiana, Rutgers, Maryland, and Wake Forest. Not exactly powerhouse central.
And the Wake Forest one, last game for D'Antonio, I feel like they had a little edge.
Yeah.
But wait, they didn't know that then. I think he retired after the fact. So maybe they're just better.
You're right.
Maybe they're just better.
Well, I think it would be surprising for a Michigan State team to have fallen that far. And quite frankly, the teams they lost to, pretty darn good. It was Arizona State, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State, Illinois, and Michigan. And Illinois had an improved season, but that was still a fluke or a 3-point loss. I wouldn't call it a fluke, but look, it wasn't Michigan State's best season, and obviously D'Antonio was on his way out the door.
And now they bring in Mel Tucker.
Mel the Dinner Bell.
Who I, as a Colorado fan, never wanted them to hire.
Yeah, that's true. How would you say he did for you in his single season there?
I mean,
serviceable, mediocre.
I would say he did. I mean, he wasn't. He was just what I thought he would be. 5-7. Should have won. We should have went to a bowl.
Yeah.
I thought we should have been 6-6, 7-5.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a letdown, but I'm saying
he came from
I also
Georgia, was it?
Yeah, Georgia DC. I also understand it was his first year, so overhaul of offense and defense. So, but at the same time, like nothing stood out to me. They lost to Air Force. You know what I mean? They lost to some teams they probably shouldn't have. They get the Arizona game. Some of the coaching, the USC game. We had USC beat.
Yeah.
And I hated the play calling down the stretch. So now I will say I thought the team's toughness improved as the season went along.
Sure. That was supposed to be part of his calling card, which, Colorado previously had been decently tough under
McIntyre.
Yeah,
right?
They
went to the big Pac-12 championship.
So to improve on that kind of toughness, I think that's supposed to be his calling card, obviously, as a defensive guy.
But
5-7.
nothing jumped out to me. I mean, look, I'm not going to say he's going to be a horrible hire.
Yeah.
But there was nothing that said like, oh, this guy's amazing. Like, a lot of times, and I made this point last year when Colorado hired him.
Yeah.
I was a skeptic of the hire. I thought McIntyre deserved another year.
Yeah.
And even if you're going to hire, I would have much rather hired like Chris Creighton or some other guys than Tucker. Doesn't mean he's a bad coach.
Yeah. But it's always tough to. I mean, that's almost like a Saban disciple.
But a lot of Saban disciples have failed.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. When your defense is stellar, but it's the most talented defense in the country, then how are we supposed to be able to judge you as a defensive coordinator?
Yeah. And now like Tucker, I mean, is unbelievably paid for a guy who's 5-7 in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably was it because is Michigan State, kind of log jammed midway down the Big
you look
Ten
at
East.
the way Maryland's recruiting. If they could just get it together,
yeah, they may even leapfrog Michigan
Indiana
State in terms
too.
of talent.
Indiana's going to be better this year. They were better last year.
Talent wise than Michigan State.
No, just a better football team.
Well, yeah, but if what's his name's a good coach, that won't be the case.
That's true. That's very true.
But either way, Michigan State, I would not say is in a favorable position in their particular division.
I just wonder
conference.
5 years from now, is Mel Tucker going to be there? Because D'Antonio set the bar pretty high.
He did. And the Big Ten has gotten better.
Especially that division. And Schiano's coming too?
Yeah. And look, New Jersey is an untapped, resource. Obviously, Schiano got Rutgers to number 2 in the nation the last time he was there, and the little old Big East.
Yeah.
So, if he can make some headway and get some recruits, I want to say New Jersey as a state is one of the top 12 most talented in terms of producing NFL talent, which is insane. And then you figure that they have it all to themselves.
Philly's not close by. New York City's not close by.
Yeah, there aren't any teams
close by.
Yeah, they are. There aren't any
even
teams.
Pittsburgh, not far away.
I think you'd have a harder time pulling out of Pittsburgh, but he still might be able to, especially if they get the ball
he's got
rolling.
Miami ties. He's going to go to Florida, guarantee you.
Yeah, I think Schiano will get that going. It's just going to make it that much. That might become a loss for Michigan State 5 years from now. So
do you think Mel Tucker will be coaching there in 5 years? I think
he'll be on his way out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he's there.
Looking at this team he's inheriting, now maybe he gets an extra year because of the COVID stuff, but this team I don't think is very good. I mean, the running back Elijah Collins appears to be a legit piece.
Pretty good. What do you have? 988 yards last year?
Yeah, and he showed some flashes. They're starting, I guess, Rocky Lombardi, which it's tough to go against the name.
Yeah.
Tough to go against the name here.
You got to root for him at the very least.
I know. And I'm assuming, they got a great center in Matt Allen, a couple decent wide receivers. I don't even know if those are the best players.
I'll say this about Elijah Collins. 988 yards and only getting to the end zone 5 times.
Tough.
This team struggled to put points on the board.
Well, I feel like, especially towards the end, but during the D'Antonio years, passing the ball has always been a problem for this team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
which is weird because they've produced so many decent quarterbacks.
Yeah. Defensively, they were money. And they're probably still going to be money because
they're Michigan State and D'Antonio.
Well, and also that's Tucker's specialty.
Yeah, that's a lineage that you got to be happy about as a Michigan State fan. Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm thinking, I'm curious to see, with a little less of a curmudgeon there, if there's some more recruiting upside because like we've talked about before, Michigan State, while they've brought in plenty of talent under D'Antonio, they were always going to be the less talented team than the flashier names, the Michigans, the Penn States, and the Ohio States. And it's still going to be a tough, but there was a time when Michigan State was like hey, some hot shot players come out of there,
That was kind of, yeah. Look, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, go back in the days, Andre Rison and Muhsin Muhammad and stuff. So
yeah. That's not a place that's going to be relegated necessarily to playing second fiddle all the time. If they get the right pieces in place, then they could jump back up.
Yeah, defensively, D-line should be pretty good. Secondary has talent. Xavier Henderson's a stud safety. Shakir Brown at corner. Linebacker Antoine Simmons, baller, senior. Defense should be solid. Should really be solid. Now, obviously, we
The
got
offense is looking bad though, man.
I think that's going to be a big, especially now. No spring ball.
Their offensive line has a bit of experience, although it's a bit patchwork. It's not exactly bringing back the wall from the year before. A bunch of dudes that got experience here and there, but that's still helpful, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, man, is that if you just look at the Big Ten schedule, which we will get to and go game by game based on obviously the COVID hit. We're not going to hit the Adam Conference games. We're going to go through the Big Ten, and then obviously there's going to be there's going to be a mystery game because they're going to go to a 10-game schedule, from what I understand. And we'll go game by game, talking Michigan State football and project what we think their record will be, and the biggest game of the season, and how year one will go with Mel Tucker at the helm. Talking Michigan State football and the college experience right after a word from our sponsors. And we're back on the college experience, talking Michigan State Spartan football. Oh man, Patty C. So I'm assuming what they're doing here is they're going to push this, since they have 3 out of conference games later. I think Northwestern is going to play in East Lansing if this game happens on September 26th. That's Saturday, September 26th. Buys them a little bit of time by doing this, the COVID thing, getting rid of the 3 games. So this is, to me, the biggest game of the season for them.
Northwestern right out the gate?
Right out the gate, because if they lose this game, which I think with Peyton Ramsey coming as a grad transfer to Northwestern, I don't think Fitzgerald's going to be as bad as he was last year. I think this is going to be a game. And I almost think I'm going to take Northwestern to win this thing.
Look, I see where you're coming from, and really, to me, the thing that's the bigger threat is that Northwestern last year was a bit of an anomaly. But that said, they were really, really bad last year.
Yeah, well, especially at quarterback. That's why I think they fix a lot of their problems with Peyton Ramsey coming in and played good at Indiana.
That's very true.
Dude, their quarterback play I thought was the worst in Power 5 football.
Absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
Man, now you're making me think about it.
I'm telling you. Well, I regardless of my pick,
yeah,
I think this is going to be a 1-score game.
Yeah, it should be a slugfest, just because Michigan State does not have its offense in place, and assuming that Northwestern is going to be better in most years. I mean, Northwestern won the Big Ten West 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, these are both traditionally over the past 5-10 years been pretty solid teams. Michigan State been a little better, but they've both dropped off. The fact that it's in East Lansing, I think, obviously benefits.
But
Michigan
if there's
State.
no fans, what's
it's
the
not
point?
A huge advantage.
Yeah.
Still travel, but either way, I expect a slugfest in this one too. I'm favoring Michigan State to come out of this.
I'm favoring Northwestern. I think they're a more veteran team right now.
You're an
especially
asshole.
At the skill positions.
Yeah.
But I don't think I feel confident about this. And hear me out. Play devil's advocate and say they lose this.
Sure.
Their next game's at Iowa.
That's almost guaranteed to be a loss.
All right. Following game's home to Michigan.
Let me get up to the 2020 schedule. That's a loss.
Next game's home to Ohio State.
Although you want Mel Tucker to
get on the good
some traction real quick. Yep. But you would assume loss at home to Michigan, lost at home to Ohio State.
I think they lose at Indiana. Indiana's more talented right now.
Kind of brutal to draw the superpowers at home and then have to go to a team that you're more evenly matched
They
with.
won 8 games last year.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're probably going to lose at Indiana too.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then they're home to Minnesota.
They're going to lose that game.
I think
Most
they are
likely.
too. I think they are too. Now, this is the bye week, but I think they're going to add that 10th game in here. And they're probably who are they going to draw? What are their chances right now? They're drawing Iowa and they're drawing Northwestern.
So there's Wisconsin, Nebraska, Illinois,
Purdue,
and Purdue still left. So basically,
wait, who did they get last year? So I think they're going to end up with, they got Wisconsin last year. We can kind of guess on who they're going to get.
So the other 3 teams would be Nebraska, Purdue, and Illinois. And they had Illinois last year. So
in
between
18, they got Purdue.
We're totally guessing here.
So I'm thinking it's going to be what, Nebraska?
Nebraska most likely would be the team that they haven't played. If they get Nebraska, and let's take a look here. They have 1, 2, 3.
I do think that might be at home to Nebraska.
4 road games though in the Big Ten, and 5 home games in the Big Ten.
So it would be an away game.
Do they have 5? Yeah, and Northwestern's at home too. Yeah. So yeah, that would be an away game. If they have to go to Nebraska, that's kind of a toss-up.
I'm taking Nebraska. Year 3 of a coach?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Although they haven't improved a ton.
I know, but I like Martinez. There's just more talent to me on Nebraska.
That's going to be a dogfight too. I would probably take Nebraska to win that one.
I feel pretty good about that.
I don't, but I would take Nebraska.
I actually think there's more of a chance for them to well, I don't know. If there's no fans, that's true. Because I think Nebraska's home environment makes them.
That's true.
Yeah.
It becomes a tough place to play.
Well, let's just say it's an away game against one of those schools.
So they're starting out. I mean, if they're going to Nebraska, let's just assume that, then that's a 1-7 start to the season, and we're looking at. And for you got them at 0-8.
Well, I mean, I'll give them one. I'll give them either Nebraska or Northwestern. They win one of them.
They'll figure it out for one of them. Yeah.
Then they're at Penn State.
Oh yeah, so we hadn't even got to that one. Sorry. Yeah, Penn State's a loss.
Then they're home to Rutgers and at Maryland. Maryland's gonna have more talent. Maryland almost beat them last year, 19-16.
Wow. In East Lansing.
Yeah.
I almost feel like Tucker's gonna have Michigan State in a better position by the end of year 1 than
Loxley.
Well, then Loxley, but then D'Antonio had him in his final year. You know. You got to figure. I mean, although if they're completely demoralized by our terribly tough schedule here, then maybe Maryland's in place to capitalize. But
at best, I think this team's going 3-7.
3-7 at best
with the schedule we have, because we don't know that it's going to be Nebraska.
Not at best, but likely 3-7 here.
I don't think they beat both Northwestern and
Indiana.
Yeah,
they might. I mean, Minnesota coming to town. Minnesota's only been good.
They could pull one upset
for 1 year.
No, they made a bowl 2 years ago.
But not good.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, they could lose to Maryland though, dude.
What constitutes bowling? I mean, they could lose, man. It could be a god awful year in East Lansing.
Yeah. What constitutes bowling? I have no idea anymore. I don't know if they're going to even do bowl games this year.
Yeah.
We don't even know that there's going to be a season this year.
Yeah. But we're bringing you the college experience in the time of doubt. So remember this, folks. When you were all alone, crying, naked in the corner, and some
give me football, please.
Dog was peeing on you. You know,
it's us that got you out.
We're the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, seriously though, like what do you think best case scenario? 4-6,
5-5, best, absolute best. Because you got to figure
who's their fifth win?
Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State.
It's not happening.
Iowa's most likely less. I mean, I could see Northwestern.
Iowa returns 5 starters on the O line.
If they pull an upset somewhere in there. Whether it be Minnesota going to East Lansing, maybe Indiana has
maybe Minnesota they could bite. I feel like Minnesota's still more vulnerable than.
You know what? They have been a thorn in Ohio State during championship seasons before. Or potentially championship season. So leave that door open too. And you know what?
It would be a Lombardi to dethrone.
That's right. To start a new dynasty. Yeah. Although he'd be gone next year probably.
No, he's a sophomore. He's a junior this year. So I'm gonna say 3 wins is what's really gonna happen. Maybe even just 2.
I'll go with 3.
And that's the Michigan State football recap. I mean, what's the biggest game? To me, the one is the Northwestern one out the gate. You lose that, you're gonna have no momentum when Saturday, November 21st comes around.
That's true. Although I want to look at something real quick, because we might be like really giving Michigan State a raw deal here.
You going recruiting?
Recruiting wise, they have no business losing more than half their games. Starting in 2016, 17, 36, 31, 33, and 43 are the classes that they have in tow. So hovering somewhere in the low to mid 30s, that should generate some wins. Then again, when half your schedule is hovering in the top 10 most of the time, that doesn't necessarily translate like it normally would.
Even if you're looking at recruiting rankings, I would say they're probably only winning 3 games because Maryland, it recruits better than Michigan State.
Although I think Maryland is probably in a similar range. In fact, we looked at it before. Maryland, I'll just scroll up a little bit. actually has recruited slightly better,
I
just
told you.
ever so slightly.
Well, I'll
over
take
the
Josh
last.
Jackson over Lombardi all day.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. But let me tell you this: Michigan State has had only 2 losing seasons under D'Antonio.
Well, he's a great coach. He was great at Cincinnati.
That's true. That's true. So Mel Tucker has a lot to prove.
So what's the biggest game of the schedule to you then?
Biggest game on the schedule, if we're going with that Big Ten slate that we just
think
outlined?
Northwestern out the gate.
I think so too. I think that's gonna
It's going to dictate the rest of their season because you get that win, maybe you'd beat an Indiana, maybe you put a scare into Michigan, but you start losing 3 or 4. It's called a snowball effect, Patty C.
I've heard of that before.
And this could happen. This is a really tough schedule for the Spartans, but hey, I don't wish them well because I wish them well. I got nothing against Michigan State.
I like Michigan State. You know what?
I liked them better in the 90s.
Even as a Michigan fan, Michigan State's cool. You know, I like their.
You're a Michigan fan. See, I don't even like. My favorite team in that division is probably
Penn State, Ohio State, Indiana.
Probably Indiana.
Will you be a Rutgers fan when they
of course
when they come up?
Gotta go for the
on board for that Jersey
Guido
vibe.
Yeah, man. Gotta rep it.
Give me a little bit of Sopranos in the college football scene.
I just don't like the way Mel Tucker left. It was the way he left.
Well, certainly as a Colorado
fan. So that's why I'm rooting against. I mean,
there you go. Feel free, man.
I'm rooting.
Give him the hate.
I'm rooting
Give him the
him.
hate.
Go Harbaugh. Go Harbaugh. You look. You're not going to want to hear this podcast, but hey,
I'm rooting for Michigan State. You know, I think they're a cool. Colby's always liked him, so take it for a grain of salt. And maybe Colby will come around on this guy too. Maybe he's doing Colorado a favor.
Look, I don't have no problem taking more money. It was just the way he did it.
That's true. A little bit, but Colby, you got to understand, folks. Colby has
I never wanted him at Colorado, so maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
That's true, but Colby holds coaches to a higher standard than any coach in the country holds themselves to these days, because that's the name of the game. It is a dog eat dog world out there, and coaches horrible. Are sons of bitches when it comes to their contract. It's a reflection of
our society, Patty C.
It is. That's what Colby's the All-American, you know, and so you folks, you know, you got to understand.
I would take more money, but I just would have done it in a better way.
Yeah,
I think
you're an All-American.
I think. I don't know exactly because there's 2 sides to every story, but based off what I've read.
Well, what if Team A is saying, say all these things, or we're not going to give you your $2 million contract, and then Team B comes along and says, here's $4 million.
Still, it's the way he was telling the recruits.
He had to know a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's video of him on the phone with the recruits saying,
I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
3 hours later.
Yeah. All right, this is the college experience, guys. I hope that despite my Michigan State opinion, that you still want to subscribe. We're talking all 130 college football teams, D1. We're going through them all on the college experience. We talk college football, college basketball year round. Subscribe, rate, review. We'd appreciate it. And yes, Patty C is on Twitter at Patty C831. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD, and we are affiliated with the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Check it out. Jerry Glanville interview up recently. Hilarious. So check it out. They're on Twitter at the SGP Network. This is the college experience, Michigan State style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out.